Good morning, Kansas City. Welcome to Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM. I strongly considered having fun at the start of the program and doing a mocking report that the Royals are building a stadium downtown and it's confirmed and it's done. But I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do the style of other sportscasters or broadcasters on talk radio. It wouldn't be fair to you, the listening audience. We play it real here. And we play it honestly, but we are going to start with an unbelievable story that doesn't seem to be getting a whole lot of run in Kansas City, and that is Mayor Quinton Lucas meeting with the media yesterday and telling, well, where I read it was KSHB.com, telling KSHB.com that he has up to $1.4 billion for the Royals to build downtown, and he has this with no tax increases. They're not going to use the current Jackson County sales tax. And an operation called We Love KC Baseball says they want it at Washington Square Park. And so this is a really serious comment. Perfect. This solves it. If Mayor Lucas has $1.4 billion, the Royals right now should be driving 120 miles an hour toward City Hall and the mayor's office to sign the contract. Why? Mayor Lucas said he's waiting to hear back from the Royals. What? You called the Royals and told them you have $1.4 billion for them for a downtown stadium, and they haven't signed a deal yet? You're kidding. This whole thing for 4 years has been about a downtown ballpark. The Royals want a downtown ballpark. I want a downtown ballpark. Everybody wants a downtown ballpark. Somehow, Mayor Q has $1.4 billion in his back pocket that he hasn't really said where it's from. There's no offer sheet. There's been no news conference, no questions asked. The mayor comes out and says $1.4 billion he's got for the Royals. And I thought Bob Fesco was dropping whoppers on Monday. What is going on in this town that people are running around saying things that you cannot take seriously? If Mayor Quinton Lucas has this money, it's over. This is done. There's no looking at Kansas. That's what Kansas is offering. I've said all along, I think Kansas is a great option for these teams because the money is so good. The Royals have said all along, they need $2 billion to build a new stadium downtown and a development around the new stadium. If he has $1.4 billion for them on a $2 billion project, I'm not really a giant math major here or anything like that, but I'm pretty sure he's reached the threshold, shockingly, of exactly 70%. He's done it. He's matched the Kansas money. A $2 billion project in Kansas gives the Royals $1.4 billion toward their project. And now, magically, he has the same number. I don't know what's going on. I'm not even going to sit here and say he doesn't have it. I don't know. How would you and I know if Mayor Quinton... It's Kansas City, Missouri. They may have this buried under City Hall somewhere. We could have gold bar reserves somewhere in this town that nobody knows about. Who knows what the mafia once upon a time buried in this city and how the government's been complicit in that for so long. This has been a dirty dealing town for a century and a half. It may be laying around somewhere. There could be a slush fund just for a really rainy day when your Major League Baseball team is threatening to go to Kansas and you say, well, I found $1.4 billion for you. But the really honest and serious question is, if he contacted the Royals and told them he has $1.4 billion for them, this is the funniest part, for either a downtown stadium brand new or they can stay at Kauffman. That's preposterous. So let's focus on the downtown ballpark. If he called them and said, we have that, and he says he's waiting to hear back, what? Waiting to hear back? Wouldn't John Sherman immediately drive to meet with him or have him out to the stadium or fly him to Arizona or wherever you've got what? You have $1.4 billion for me? Let's sit down and talk privately, the two of us. How's this going to work? I don't know what's going on here. Mayor Q's in one of two spots, okay? And I'm not picking on Mayor Q. I hope he's got it because we can put this thing to bed. An outstanding solution would be closing the Truman Sports Complex, moving the Royals downtown, and having the Chiefs at the Legends. We would all find that we're very happy with that. All of you that complained about we don't need a new airport and all that. Okay, there's things about the airport we may not like, but come on. It's so much better for our city than what we had. It is. Don't fight things because they're new. So many. Channel 41 does this story, and they talk, they do the man on the street interview. We got with Royals fan John Smith here to see what he thinks. Oh, there's great parking at Kauffman Stadium, and it's in a perfect central location. Huh? Okay, we know there's a big parking lot, and you can get in and out. Perfect central location? The Royals want to move because it's too far away from the fans that buy the tickets. That's the main thing. And they got 2 hubs for that. One would be Johnson County, where all their season ticket holders are. The other would be downtown, where all the young people live and would like to live from those apartments, condos, different urban areas. They would like to walk to the ball game. And they might go on a Tuesday night and slam some beers because they're 26 years old. A new set of fans exists downtown. That's what the Royals are looking at. Their current set of fans with the money exists mostly in Johnson County or on the Kansas side. But these fans, it's almost a waste of media time. Oh, we love the parking lot, and it's such a great, perfect location. It's not a great, perfect location. Nothing has happened there. When Mark informed me that the Denny's had burned down, it crushed me. I was like, the only restaurant around the stadiums is closed. We had a Denny's. You could literally get Moons Over Miami after the game. I'm sorry, my hammy. Moons Over my hammy. It's a ham steak with a couple of eggs. You used to could get it for $2.99. It's probably $5.99 now, but whatever. You can't even get Moons Over my hammy after the game anymore. The hotel's closed. It's not a great location. I don't get this. So what I said I did a lot more on the media and Bob Fesco's fiasco on my podcast today. If you want to hear that, you can go to the podcast. It's Kevin Kietzman Has Issues. You can listen to it all. And I'll spend much more time on media and Bob and I like Bob, and he's a good guy, and he's got a nice family. He's a good family man. Just got out over his skis. We've been asking the questions because Pete had some great stories a couple of weeks ago. I had a story that we busted out here. We stand by those stories. We know what they are. They're truthful. Was he feeling pressure to come up with something? Did this happen because there was pressure over there? I don't know. It's kind of how radio works. We all compete against each other. It's one of those things. So I spent a lot of time talking about that on the podcast. But the point here for Mayor Lucas is he's one of 2 things. He's either created his own Fesco fiasco or he's Donald Trump. Either way, he's not going to like that comparison. So Donald Trump would say, I got $1.4 billion for you. I'll build you a ballpark for the Royals. And then you know what would happen? He'd make it happen. So Q's got 2 things. There's no chance Kansas gets the team if Mayor Q has $1.4 billion downtown with no vote, no tax increase, and no issues. He's just going to hand it to the team. It's done. They're going downtown, and everybody's going to be okay with that. We can stop the squabbling. Let's put the Royals to bed. If Mayor Q has 1.4, this is over. Let's make no mistake about that. Now, he's either gone Fesco rogue on us all, getting everybody excited and worked up about something that isn't going to happen, or he's going to be Donald J. Trump. And he's going to say, you know what? We're looking at Greenland. We think Greenland looks good to us. Hey, on Friday, J.D. Vance is going to Greenland. Usha was going to go with the Sun. Then J.D. said, there's so much excitement around and so many people coming, I think I'll go. And now Denmark's mad at the United States, saying we're putting too much pressure on the voters there because Denmark knows what's going to happen. The first time you heard Trump say Greenland, what did you think? You thought he went all Bob Fesco on you. But he didn't, did he? He's going to wind up backing this thing up. That's what Trump does. He says something you don't believe, and you're like, what? And then it happens. He comes down the escalator. We got rapists and murderers pouring in this country. We're going to build a wall. I'm going to be president. Really? You sound like Bob Fesco. But then he did it. And now is Mayor Q going to be Bob Fesco or Donald Trump? I don't think he likes either comparison because he hammered Bob Fesco on social media.
If he gives the Royals $1.4 million, then the Chiefs got to be going to Kansas, though. Because I don't think they're going to have money for both.
Billion.
Billion,
I think
yeah,
you said
sorry,
$1.4 billion. $1.4 billion dollars, right? Is that, what was the name?
Austin
Michael
Powers.
Myers, Austin Powers. Yeah, exactly. I think that's right. Although there is I actually think if the Royals leave and go downtown or whatever, there might be a better chance. Well, the Royals are leaving. All right, this renovating Kauffman's over. They've said all along, we want a new stadium. They're going to get a new stadium. The Royals' valuation came out today by Forbes magazine. $1.3 billion is what the Royals are worth. Only the Marlins and Rays are worth less. So the Royals are 30th in the major leagues in value, and a huge reason why is the ballpark. The Marlins have a crappy park. The Rays have a crappy park. And according to this valuation, the Royals have a crappy park. It can't be developed. There's nothing you can do. There's no ancillary business around your stadium except for your parking revenue. That's it. That's not what baseball is. Baseball is we're bringing thousands of people 81 days a year, and we ought to be able to make money off them before and after the game because we own stuff around this stadium. And you can't do that at the K. Can't be done. There's a great idea in the 1960s, back when I was born, but it's not a great idea today. So I hope Mayor Q's Donald Trump. I really do. We put this thing to bed real fast. But hearing John Sherman say a couple weeks ago, we've got a deal all buttoned up, and we hope to announce it soon, but then saying last week on a Royals telecast that they hope to be able to talk about something by the middle of this year doesn't sound like, to me, he really thinks Kansas City, Missouri has $1.4 billion. But that would be awesome. Who among us wouldn't be happy with that? If Mayor Quinton Lucas, this would be his crowning achievement. Wouldn't be the airport, wouldn't be the World Cup, wouldn't be anything. This would be his crowning achievement. If he really is put together and is the spokesperson, because he maybe isn't supposed to be speaking, I don't know. But if he's the spokesperson for $1.4 billion that they've drummed up through the city of Kansas City and not Jackson County, through Kansas City, Missouri, if he's done that and he delivers and the Royals stay downtown, hell, they might as well name the plaza by home plate after Quinton Lucas.
And Pete speaks to him on Thursday morning. So
That's
out
awesome.
at the stadium with the speakers blasting toward the field.
Let's go.
Let's hear what he has to say.
I think Pete's got John Sherman lined up for tomorrow.
That's true also.
Let's get them on together. He's going to have John Sherman and Mayor Q on the show tomorrow from Kauffman Stadium. Let's get them on together. Pete, let's just negotiate the thing out. Right here, just the three of you.
That would be amazing.
Just the three of you. Can I sit there and watch? I'll come early. I just want to watch. I want to be a fly on the wall. Pete Mundo can be the negotiator, like Trump in the peace talks between Ukraine and Russia. Pete sits down with Mayor Q and John Sherman, hammers this thing out, and they go downtown. And, by the way, if and when that happens, Pete will be right, because I think Pete said all along that they're going to be downtown, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. And I'm good with that. I've heard other sports radio hosts say that I think they're going to be downtown. I thought that for the longest time. When the vote failed, I'm like, wait a second, 70% of your projects coming from Kansas? I don't see how Missouri can match that. But Quinton Lucas is now saying financially he can match the state of Kansas, and that should end it. This should be over. The Royals belong downtown. Mayor Q rides in on the white horse, and he is Donald J. Trump. How great is that? Do you believe it? Give me a call. 913-408-7957. Who the heck are you going to believe these days? We'll talk about it next on Uncanceled.
From Leawood to Liberty, it's Kevin Kietzman Uncanceled on 95.7 FM KCMO Talk Radio.
We're back on 95.7 FM. Thank you for being with us, as always. Appreciate it. Nice work by Paul Gallant this week, filling in for Pete Mundo. Mundo is back tomorrow. We'll be broadcasting from Kauffman Stadium. If I can remember how to get exactly where I'm going. It's been a while since I broadcast from Kauffman Stadium. Since I've actually done a show at Kauffman Stadium, has probably been close to 20 years now, because we got locked out because the contract was with other radio stations. They wouldn't let us in to do shows like that. So I'm looking forward to that. We'll get back out to the K tomorrow, have some fun for opening day with the Royals. We're talking about the ballpark issues, which Mayor Q seems to have solved. It looks like this whole thing is finally over, which we love. Let's go to the phones. Fred is up first today in Overland Park. Good morning, Fred. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good, buddy.
Yeah, as Mark knows, I've been waiting over 3 years for the Royals to send a limo to pick me up because I've had the solution for the downtown airport for 3.5 years. Move the damn downtown airport up to KCI. There's more than enough room. It's not that much further from where it's at. Then you have build the stadium on the river edge, and there's more than enough room there for clubs, hotels, and it has access with 2 highways.
All right, Fred, we've heard you say it before, buddy. I'll just officially go no comment. You need a downtown airport. There's a lot of traffic there. We don't need those planes congesting up KCI. That's the last thing we need. I got a lot of problems here. The ballpark has to, generally speaking, face to the northeast, which means there's no view sitting in the seats. You're looking at the Northland. You'll have a nice view of North Kansas City Hospital. You can sit right there in the upper deck and see if the helicopter's flying in, bringing a life flight in. These people aren't that stupid. If that were the spot and that were the solution, I think they'd be on it. We've never heard that from anyone other than Fred. It doesn't make it a terrible idea. I just don't think it would work out. So I'm not here to be some kind of mean guy. That's not me. I'm not going to play Mean Girls on you. Is that what Gallant said earlier? Somebody was in Mean Girls? I don't even know what that is, but it sounds like they're really mean. Here's Cody in Blue Springs on 95.7. Hi, Cody. What's up?
Oh, hey. I just have a story, and then also I have maybe a potential idea. But what I've heard from other people, they actually revisited the idea of downtown stadiums, actually before even the Royals. That back in the day, like let's say 15, 20 years, they're thinking about putting a team kind of opposition to the T-Bones downtown. And pretty much at that point, they said it was basically even a 10,000-seat stadium downtown was unfeasible then. I don't know if anything's changed now. And I think they were specifically looking at that Washington Square location when they said that. You might want to dig on. You might have heard the story before, but it's one where people may have forgotten.
I don't know why you could only put 10,000 seats in a stadium. You know, you can build 3 levels.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying.
Are you telling me the ground is swampland and it's going to sink into the earth?
I'm saying population, like getting like the people in and out.
It's going to be harder than Kauffman Stadium. Just listen, everybody listening. First of all, how many games did you go to last year?
I watch them all.
Okay, there you go. This happens every time. I've done this. I've done this for 25 years listening to Royals fans talk about how convenient it is and the parking, and we can't move downtown because we got to have ease getting in and getting out. And then I ask people, how many did you go to last year? And they go, well, I watch on TV. Okay, that's the problem. You watch on TV because it's not that fun to drive all the way there, go in, watch your game, go back home, whatever. If it's downtown and it's a special day and you can go early and the game's at 7:05 and you're down there at 4 o'clock having a little happy hour and a meatball appetizer or something before the game, and you got friends around and people are walking around the street and it feels like something, it feels like you're alive. That's what people want to do. That's what brings people to the ballpark. And they don't care if it's congested. They may Uber. Heck, there may actually be somebody get on the trolley if the Royals were downtown, and they wouldn't be as empty as the buses. Every time somebody tells me the stadium has to stay where it is, you tell me that you don't go to games. Just don't. And I don't even want to do the follow-up question where I ask, how many other ballparks have you been to in downtowns around the country? I don't want to ask that question. And I don't want to ask you about new football stadiums. Because if you've been to the cool new football stadiums in the NFL, they're better than Arrowhead. They are. They're not as fun for us. We love Arrowhead. And it's Arrowhead's loud, and it's special to us, and we have traditions, and the team is phenomenal. But it ain't that stadium in L.A., I can promise you that. It just isn't. And people in Kansas City either don't know this or don't want to know this because people don't like new stuff. The people freaking out on Donald Trump are freaking out right now because he's doing something the government's never done. He's doing new stuff, which is actually old stuff that they wrote into the Constitution our founding fathers wanted, but it's new to everyone alive today. This has never happened, and it's freaking people out because it's new. You can't be afraid of new, folks. New is better in many ways. The new airport is better than the old airport. We don't hear complaints about that anymore, do we? But we had to listen to them for 5 years. People saying we don't want the new airport, but now we like the new airport. Here's Stephen in KCK. Hi, Stephen. We got about a minute. Go for it.
Kevin, I love you to death, man, but we've conditioned our fan base for 50 years to be afraid of downtown. No one wants to go to downtown. I don't see what's so bad about putting it out to Legends. I know they'd be competing with the Chiefs, but if this team falls apart, that downtown stadium, there'll be 10,000 people there. I'm just you can write it down right now. This entire fan base, if fears everything about downtown for a good reason.
There are absolute issues. I agree with you. And the Royals in the city will have to address that. There will have to be a lot of security. The people that drive down there and park in side lots, side streets, things like that, they're going to be very careful about smash and grabs. We know what's going on with people and cars that are vandalized and things that are stolen. The easiest way to keep your car from getting vandalized is put an American flag sticker on it and an NRA sticker. Just put it right on there.
There is no that they want to shave all the race hustlers and want to shave all the money out of there. Put it in Wyandotte County.
All right, buddy.
I'm sick and tired of being forced.
All right, I'm up against the break. You're for Wyandotte County. There you go. We're back with more Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio. I'm Kevin Kietzman.
From Overland Park to Oak Grove, it's Kevin Kietzman Uncanceled on 95.7 FM KCMO Talk Radio.
I mean, we're halfway through the show. I haven't even looked at my show notes yet. I got 100 topics here today. I haven't even looked at them. Everybody wants to talk about Mayor Q's $1.4 billion. I love it. That's awesome stuff. If you'd like to join us, we can still take some phone calls. 913-408-7957. Donald Trump did an interview with the folks at Newsmax and said some interesting things. These are just right in your wheelhouse. You're going to like these. I'll get to the signal thread thing in a moment, but you'll like this. He says he's going to look into Ashley Babbitt's killing on January 6th. Okay, that's pretty cool. He also said there will not be very many exceptions to the tariffs with countries around the world because we've seen him sort of negotiate these as he goes. And I don't know if his tariff czar is going to be doing this or how much time he'll be able to pay attention to it day to day. But there's so many countries in the world, these tariffs are all over the place. I saw a report earlier this week that India apparently is rethinking the tariffs that they charge on our products going into their country. Really? Oh, we're going to charge you now for the trinkets you send over here, and you may not charge us because you really don't want to pay that. Very interesting. Hey, that works all the way around. That's what's driving businesses to come to America. Yes, there are incentives, there's pressure. They don't want to pay the tariffs on the products coming into our country. But if they build stuff here, what they know is they can now make things in America and ship them elsewhere to places with lower tariffs. I'm not a genius on this stuff in any way, shape, or form, but it stands to reason that instead of the External Revenue Service making all this money in tariffs we're collecting, what's really going to happen is we're going to stop paying the tariffs to export our goods to the other countries. The easier move for those people will just be to take theirs away from us and say we don't have to pay it, which is great for American business. Think about that for a second, what that means for businesses in America. I mean, either way, it's a win. Either way, it's a win. And maybe it's 50-50. Maybe half of it is what we collect and half is what we save going away. I like that. He also spoke with Newsmax about the Signal thread or whatever they call this app that our security folks were on. They're having meetings on it today. And yes, Michael Waltz, staff made a mistake here. A staffer made a mistake and included a reporter. It sounded to me like it may be just as easy as looking in your contacts that you're adding a phone number into this group chat that is secure. There's no question it was secure. And it was the way that the government works. The Biden administration used it. Everybody uses this app in the government. It's what they're supposed to be doing. They weren't doing anything wrong. What they did wrong was put Jeff Goldberg in there, which was JG. You know, your phone pops up and you just see two initials. The working theory is that the aide who was putting numbers in had another JG in his contacts and hit the wrong one. And apparently there was somebody that's some sort of liaison or secretary to agriculture. There's somebody in Trump's administration that is JG, but I'd never heard of him. But they were going to be included. And it wasn't just the 5 people that were texting here. Apparently there were a lot of people in this group. It wasn't as small as you thought. And they just put the wrong JG in. And that's how Jeff Goldberg got in there. The staffer actually had Jeff Goldberg's number at the Atlantic. I could see that happening. We've all screwed up. It's terrible. It's wrong. It's bad. It should never happen at that level and on this group chat. There should be some sort of a password to get into it, you would think. If you're included or invited, that you have to prove who you are. Something. There's no facial recognition. That seems pretty easy. I sit here every time I sign into the Cumulus website, or not every time, but once or twice a week, they want me to reconfirm. They pop a number up. We want to see that you Face ID, and then is this number correct? Put it in, and I'm back in. They're very serious about keeping people out. That definitely shouldn't have happened. But the fact that it isn't the end of the world. And Trump says, I'm very comfortable that I figured out what happened and it won't happen again. And he's going to keep using it. They're going to keep using this app, so we're cool with that. Local officials now say they're working diligently with the FBI and the ATF to find the person who set the Teslas on fire in Kansas City. Pete Mundo's where I heard the information first, talking about the Tesla dealership on State Line. And somebody went and set fire to him. And it didn't make as much national news because one happened in Vegas at the same time, and that got the headlines. But this one's now getting more national news. It looks like the FBI and ATF are involved, and they're willing to say that they're involved. And I don't think these people know what's going to happen if the FBI picks them up. You definitely want Quinton Lucas's guys to get you first. In fact, you might just want to walk to the Kansas City, Missouri police station and turn yourself in to the local authorities. That might be a better play for you in the end. These are going to be real sentences. These people have been labeled domestic terrorists by the Trump administration, and the FBI and the ATF have been informed that these are domestic terrorists and go get them. And do not talk to me about the comparison between J6ers that walked between some velvet ropes, took some selfies, and walked out of the Capitol versus people that are setting car dealers on fire and breaking glass and vandalizing and doing these other things. Doesn't add up. Those things don't equate to me. They really don't. They're just not that similar. And I know people on the left are going to say, oh, Trump's just doing what Biden did. He's weaponizing the FBI and the ATF against innocent citizens who are exercising free speech. 8 Molotov cocktails on a slew of Teslas right outside a dealership, setting them all on fire, is not free speech in any sense of the word. There's been a gazillion executive orders signed by Donald Trump. I think my favorite was yesterday. It's the election integrity one. And Will Scharf was there, the Missourian, the lawyer from Missouri who lost his Secretary of State race, I think is what he ran for this last year. He lost that race.
AG.
Yeah, he lost to AG, to Bailey. Okay, so he lost that. And now he's becoming more famous than you can ever be, standing at Trump's side, handing him these executive orders and explaining to the media exactly what they are. And he gave a really long one yesterday, almost 2 minutes long, on the executive order for election integrity, and it is amazing. I'm not going to repeat it all here, but it does some really, really cool things. If they can turn that into law, not just an executive order, we're going to have free and fair elections for a long, long time. I am very excited about that one. I loved that one. I also love Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's having hearings today with the CEOs of NPR and PBS, who don't compete. NPR station in Kansas City does not. I've never even seen them as competitors. Yes, they get listeners, will compete for listeners, but they're funded by the government. They don't operate like KCMO Talk Radio. We need listeners. We need sponsors to support the programming. And if we don't, poof, this thing just goes away and you don't have your favorite radio station anymore. That's how free enterprise and capitalism work. NPR and PBS are just funded by your tax dollars. So they sit on there and spew a bunch of liberal stuff every day because the money's coming in whether anybody's listening or not. It's ridiculous. Let's go back to the phones. Ginger is up on Uncanceled. Good morning, Ginger. How are you today?
Hi, Kevin.
Hi.
Are you there, Kevin?
Yep, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I just want to know why you're downplaying the call for your listener, or the fact that they were on signal for your listeners. It's dangerous how you're downplaying this. The reason that they don't have face recognition on Signal is because it's a texting app. It's
Right.
not where you're supposed to share war plans. That, as we all know, is supposed to be done secretly in a skiff. But no, so why? I don't understand why you can downplay this.
Well-
And you said that Biden shared. I mean, come on.
Everybody in the government has used this.
There's no, and you even said, hold on real quick.
Okay, sure.
You even said there's another JG. You don't know who it is.
No.
But there's got to be. So you guys are going to do everything you can to search for this anonymous
So-
JG.
So do you think this was a nefarious move by the aides, some sort of an uprising, trying to
No, I think whatever his name, the advisor was an idiot
Okay.
and included the wrong person on the text.
Okay,
thread.
good.
He
So you don't
included a
think
reporter.
this is something nefarious trying to overthrow the Trump administration?
Good God, for one bit, just finally just admit. It's exhausting.
What
They
is?
were sharing war plans. I have a friend's daughter who's getting ready to go to West Point. I'm supposed to feel comfortable with the fact that she's going to have to serve under people who are sharing stuff on war plans on an open app on a plane in Russia. One of them wasn't.
It's a
Gabby
secure
Gifford,
app.
or not Gabby
It's
Gifford,
a
wasn't
secure
Gabby.
app that the government uses all the time, and they have for quite some time, and everybody uses, and it's a secure app. A mistake was made. A human error occurred. It's bad. I'm not saying it isn't bad. You and I are just on a different deal.
Admit that there was a mistake. Don't try to blame Biden. Don't try to claim there's another JG and that an aide screwed up. It was this guy screwed up. They all screwed up. They should have been doing this.
No argument.
in the
Well, no,
private
I don't. From what I've heard so far, I don't agree that they shouldn't have been doing this. This was not the plans. This was just one thing about, hey, this is going to happen henceforth in 2 hours or something like that. There was not a lot of great detail here. It wasn't a war plan. It was informing people in the chain of command that this thing is about to happen. It's not a war plan. Okay, we don't know the war plan. You got to be honest with yourself.
We do. He released it. He released the whole text. He put the exact time that the bomb was dropped.
That's a war plan to you?
And then
A drone dropping one thing in one place in Yemen is a war plan? What war are we at? Name the war that we're in. Ginger, name for me the war we're in. Name for me the war. What is the war? If this is a war plan, I'm going to put you on hold. You're on hold. I did not drop you. Tell me the name of the war we're in with the Houthis in Yemen. Just tell me the name of the war, and then I'll tell you it's a war plan. It's a drone strike for people who've been firing at our ships in the sea, in trade lanes, and they're done with it. This information, as stupid as it was that this person was involved, and as bad a mistake as that is, was never going to get out because guess what? The person that was reading it thought it was a hoax, didn't believe it, and couldn't possibly have gone forward with that information. Nobody was ever in harm's way. The mission was executed perfectly. Sometimes, Ginger, you got to step back and say, did this work or did it not? Okay, we made a mistake, but guess what? 13 people didn't die, like when we pulled out of Afghanistan. Nobody was harmed. The mission was successful. They've learned a lesson. Maybe we look at the silver lining and say, great that it happened this way, on this one instead of some other way. And I'm willing to bet you right now, this has happened multiple times before with the Biden administration, but because a reporter or the person that was involved in the chat that wasn't supposed to be there or invited was a liberal, you never heard about it. I'm willing to go all in on that if you're willing to admit and tell me that you can't name this war. Can you name this war, Ginger?
Why does that have anything to do with
You just said it was war plans. I want to know what war we're talking about.
What? Why does this have
When did a
anything to do
drone
with
strike
it?
on a terrorist become war? I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm sorry. Ginger, I love you. You're just beside yourself today, and you're going to get me there, and I don't want to go there. Thank you for the call. You said your piece. I've said mine, and we're both in it. We're 90% in agreement. It was a total screw-up. It was a bad deal. As really dumb, bad things go, this one kind of turned out okay. Honestly, if we're just going to be honest about the thing, you tell me I'm wrong. I'm okay with that. All right, we're back. We got a lot of people want to chime in. I think they want to react to Ginger, is my guess. We'll do that next on Uncanceled. This is KCMO Talk Radio.
From Gardner to Grain Valley, it's Kevin Kietzman Uncanceled on 95.7 FM KCMO Talk Radio.
I can't state loudly enough how much I respect Ginger's opinion. I'm sure she's still listening. Ginger, I really do. And I don't want to see anybody in harm's way either. And all of the people in our service, it's my understanding this mission didn't have anybody in harm's way, like at all. And it's not a war. It's not a war. It was a strike on a terrorist target. And we've done that forever. And we successfully do those all the time by not putting people in harm's way. We do them from the air. We do them with drones. We do whatever we do. This wasn't the SEALs going in and getting bin Laden. Okay? It wasn't that mission. That's a little different. This wasn't even classified. The chat wasn't even classified. So I'm totally with you on the safety and security of our personnel. Couldn't say it. I totally respect that. Man, we just see this mission different and what this thing was about. That's all. Here's Jeff in KC on KCMO Talk Radio. Hi, Jeff.
You know what? Here's 2 high fives to you, brother. You are my hero.
You have a low bar.
We're the same age, and you know what? Age and the wisdom that it gives you, the lines and the gray hair and everything. I'm telling you, the way you handled that, very classy, very good. And, you know, the thing is, when Ginger gets a few more lines and a few more gray hair, she'll understand. But this is all a lot of theatrics, and this is all a lot of games and all. But my hat's off to you.
Appreciate the call, Jeff.
You do such a good, classy way of handling this show, and I appreciate it, and I very much enjoy it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. That means the world to me. You'll never know how much it means when people say they enjoy listening, and I'm thanking you for being here every day. It really, really, really means a lot to us. Thank you. Here's Rick in Leavenworth on KCMO Talk Radio. Hi, Rick.
Hey, hi. So, yeah, same thing. You're a great guy. I like listening to you. I might have a little bit different perspective. I have 40-plus years in the Army. I've had security clearance at a fairly high level. And what I'll just say this, everything being equal, is a SIG app is not a communication platform or record for the military. There are many other ways that they could have talked at that level. They should just know better. That's all I'm saying. We have SIPRNet. They have secure phones that they can talk on. SIG app, I use when my daughter goes overseas for whatever, we can talk on it. I have used it sometimes when we were collecting on certain things. But for the most part, it's not a program or record. There's better ones out there for these guys at that level. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it just appeared to me from me reading it that they didn't think it was that big of a deal, and we still don't know how many people were on it. It seemed like they just wanted a big area where they could let people know it was not classified, and it seemed more casual. Now, you'd know better than me. When you had clearance, you were talking about something really important or high level. It seems like it would have been more detailed than American flag emojis, and fist bumps. This was a pretty light conversation.
Absolutely. But like I said, when you're talking about a 2B or very close, really, so we'll call ongoing operation, you want to probably just, even with the fist bump, they can do it on SIPRNet. They have secure cell phones. We used to have, I forget what they're, Blueberries. They were all secure. And so you could do it there. And I imagine they have all of that to include secret SIPRNet in their house. I know generals, they have the ability based on what they have to do and what they know. So as a bare minimum, this was probably FOUO information not everybody needed to know.
No, it's great because I think what you're saying is if Trump is believing and thank you for the call, if Trump hears that or knows that now, he's like, when you're on this SIG app, no more military talk. Nothing. No. Do that somewhere else. Anything related to our actions should never be on there. That seems like a reasonable step at this point, and I'm sure that will be the case going forward. All right, Mark, we spent a little time yesterday talking about ballpark food and some of the cool things. And they try to reinvent the wheel and come up with things that are, we've got the Z-Man at Kauffman Stadium. We're all happy with that.
Oh, yeah.
They're not reinventing something. They give us something we love. I think the best is when you just go rogue and say, we're going to do something everybody loves better than everyone else. Would you kind of agree with that, or do you like to try all kinds of weird new concoctions?
I don't like to go crazy on it, but especially if it's expensive. I don't like to try something new that I just don't know if I would even like.
So the ramen bowl in San Francisco is probably not your thing.
Yeah, probably not.
The Giants have that this year.
Mm-hmm.
When I was a kid, the first ballpark I went to that was not Kauffman Stadium, we drove to Arlington to go to Six Flags for a summer vacation. We went to a Rangers game. And you're not going to believe this, but John probably agrees with this. We're of a certain age where we didn't grow up with nachos. We didn't have nachos. I get to Arlington, they're selling these things called nachos. I'm like, what the heck?
Get them.
It was awesome. It was chips and you just dip them in the cheese. Well, the Rangers are back. They win. They have a boomstick burrito this year with a 26-inch tortilla.
Okay, that sounds good.
And it's only filled with the stuff that guys like. It's rice, it's beans, it's taco meat, it's nacho cheese sauce. They're going to throw a little lettuce in there to make Robert F. Kennedy Jr. happy.
Yeah.
But that's it. It's 26 inches.
That sounds amazing.
That's got to feed your whole family, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
How do you cut up the boomstick burrito at a ball game and share it with your family? Or do you just pass it around?
Yeah, probably just pass it around at that point.
Nobody can eat that one. Hey, it was a great day. Thanks for listening to Uncanceled. The Vince Show is coming up next on KCMO.